I didn't lose my peace all at once. I gave it away one it's okay at a time. That's what Eleanor, 73, told me over tea one morning. Let me ask you something. How many times have you silenced your discomfort just to keep the peace, only to lose your own in the process? Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." But far too often, we trade that privilege for comfort, for approval, for quiet. Today, I want to gently walk with you through 10 behaviors Jung would urge us to stop accepting. Not out of rebellion, but out of care for your soul, your energy, your peace. Together, we'll uncover what's been quietly draining you and how to take it back, one small breath at a time. Let's start with one of the most common but least talked about patterns: accepting emotional neglect as normal. Many of us who grew up in post-war families were taught to be strong. Don't cry. Get over it. Be grateful. And so, we learned to downplay our needs, to keep quiet, to carry on. But according to the Harvard study of adult development, one of the longest-running studies in the world, it's not achievements or wealth that predict lifelong well-being. It's emotional connection, feeling seen, feeling heard. Frank, now 68, spent for decades being the emotional anchor for everyone else. He was reliable, calm, steady, but no one ever asked him how he was doing. Not really. One day, while watching his granddaughter draw in silence, something hit him. He couldn't remember the last time someone had truly listened to him. The truth is, strength isn't silence, and enduring isn't healing. Jung believed that what we ignore doesn't go away, it hides, and it drains us from within. So pause and ask yourself, gently, who sees you, really sees you? Another toxic behavior we've normalized is saying yes when our soul says no. We tell ourselves it's kindness, but often it's guilt wearing a mask. This habit comes from something Jung called the shadow, the parts of ourselves we were taught to reject. Our anger, our fatigue, our desire for space. We buried them, thinking it made us better, more lovable. Linda, 71, volunteers every weekend at her church. She bakes, she organizes, she shows up. But when I asked her what truly brings her joy, she looked down and whispered, "I'm not sure anymore." It's heartbreaking, isn't it? When kindness becomes self-erasure, Jung reminded us, when we abandon ourselves for others, no one wins, least of all our own soul. So here's a quiet truth. You are not selfish for needing rest, for saying no, for choosing peace. You are not here to be everything to everyone. You are here to be whole. Let that sit with you for a moment. Now, gently reflect. What have you been saying yes to when deep down you didn't want to? Let's take a breath here and step into the softer part, the healing part. What can you do right now to begin reclaiming your peace? First, the letter practice. Once a week, Write a letter to your younger self. It doesn't need to be long. It doesn't need to be poetic, just honest. You could start with, "I'm sorry I forgot you." Let the words come. You might be surprised what your soul remembers. Second, create a cup of tea. Pause before agreeing to anything, before picking up the phone, before offering help. Pause. Make a cup of tea. Sit with it. Ask yourself, if I say yes to them, am I saying no to me? This pause gives you permission to choose from presence, not pressure. And third, learn to say no with softness. You don't need to defend or explain. Try something like, "I'm not able to do that right now, but I truly appreciate you thinking of me." It's kind, it's clear, and most importantly, it honors your boundaries. Martha, 75, created what she calls her tea days. Once a week. No errands, no favors, no tasks, just tea, a book, maybe a walk with her dog, Percy. "It's the first time I've listened to my own breath," she told me. Peace isn't always something we find. Sometimes it's something we finally stop rejecting. Let's go deeper now. Some of the most painful behaviors we accept come wrapped in silence, carrying others' shame as if it were ours, telling ourselves it's too late to change, holding on to roles we never chose. There's a quiet grief in pretending, in playing small for so long that we forget who we were before the world told us who to be. But Carl Jung taught that the second half of life is not about striving. It's about returning to the self, integrating what was lost, making peace with the parts we pushed away. Robert, 79, shared this in a group circle. "I spent 50 years waiting to be proud of myself. Now, I just hold my own hand when I feel small." There's something sacred in that kind of simplicity. And maybe you've been waiting for permission to rest, to say no, to speak up. So let me offer it to you now. You are allowed to protect your peace. You are allowed to choose you. Let me ask you this. Which part of yourself have you ignored for too long? And which role are you tired of playing just to be accepted? You're not alone. Feel free to share in the comments. This is a safe space. Someone will read your words and feel less alone because you wrote them. As we close today, I invite you to breathe with me. What's one toxic behavior you've let go of? How did it change your life? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Thank you for listening, for reflecting, for showing up for yourself. If this message spoke to your heart, I gently invite you to explore our other videos on healing, self-compassion, and late life awakening. No pressure, just quiet company whenever you need it. Until next time, may your tea be warm and your spirit even warmer. New Ban Moon. Te Chayan KJ Chi Bien Na Sang Ting Vit Gang Ning Fap. T9 Vitruyan Sisiam Choing Gui Kao Tui. Hey Noin.